Have you also heard about the so-called blackout that, the news of have sprung in Europe, all over Europe? Haven't they stirred any questions already? Well, let's see um, when or what. Actually, let's see one thing. What it is that this thing should actually trigger in people. Let's actually remember, has anyone in this society, sick as it is, done anything to help you? But at the same time, have they done things to actually scare you, spook you? If you are from Romania, most likely other countries, but in Romania we've been threatened with the danger of a great earthquake, the danger of poverty. But, well, there's been an earthquake ever since communism fell in Romania. It's called bad politics. Well, poverty has been in Romania for as long as I remember. Now, the point is, everything in this society seems to follow a cycle. You are first announced of a certain thing, and then it is imposed upon you. So, the point is, have they ever told you that a pandemic happens? Don't forget, ever since 2012, Bill Gates suddenly entered the front page of news as, someone who is a do-gooder of humanity. And obviously, the press didn't do much, didn't say much afterwards because people had to be, programmed to accept the ideas that the powers that apparently rule this world have in store for us. And did I actually tell you that in 2017 and even in 2019 there was to be preparations in case a pandemic would pop out? And guess what? Several months would actually pass, and we actually had that, and all the hell that is nowadays loose actually sprang loose. It's funny that authorities actually told people to stock up on water and on food. Well, the question is, have you ever had a blackout, right? It happens from time to time. It lasts a short while usually, and then, everything goes back to normal. But the point is, you are having a shower, suddenly the water is all cold, there's no hot water, you try to figure out how things are, and well, you also see the lights are out, so most likely there's a blackout. Did anyone warn you about that? Well, no. Did anyone warn you about an earthquake that it would come? Well, no. So, the question is, things that would happen naturally, do you have any means of detecting them? Science says you can't predict an earthquake. And also, you can't predict a blackout because obviously there are moments when it would happen. But to predict a blackout on such a big scale, right? A blackout so big like it would take the whole Europe. Well, doesn't this sound a bit staged? Because some people are playing very dangerously with power. And this will definitely wake a lot of people up because if you pull out internet and technology from people, they will simply won't have nothing left, right? But wasn't this the whole agenda? You will have nothing by 2030, but you will be happy, right? So, isn't this more like a reinforcement of the statement we are in power and you are powerless? Well, some people are feeling shaky and they want to prove people that they have a sense of power. Not actual power, because it's still us people that, rule their empires. Their empires function on jobs that we fulfill. If people simply go and, design their own businesses, well, that is if they can, because schools don't teach you how to get your own business, but people can help one another, people will form communities, and if people simply abandon those empires, well, these fuckers won't have much left anyways. So, is this actually a staged blackout? Because up till now, everything seems more or less staged. Everything is like prepared in advance and then it's put in front of you so that you feel powerless. What would be the point of a blackout other than just tormenting people? Let's not forget it's Europe. We've been through 1,000 years of torment due to, you know, religion and how it suppressed and oppressed everything. And now it's another authoritarian regime, most likely, well, next level religion. If you don't follow it, you're a heretic. So the question is, why would you actually impose it on people that, they stock up on stuff? Because if you don't have any current, where are you gonna stuff all the food that you buy in a crisis? You don't even know when it's gonna come. And if you know the exact date and time, it's like, doesn't this sound more like staged rather than, we predict that it will happen then? Because I don't see any populational booming, right? We're not taking on aliens or something. It's not that the population of humanity suddenly needs twice the amount of energy so that, the power sources actually don't fit, right? They don't handle the requirements. Where are you gonna stuff all the food that you're gonna buy because, you know, you think that the crisis is coming? Maybe it comes, we don't know. But if this blackout lasts several days, your food won't last that much, most likely. Because if there's no current, there is no fridge. Think about how many murders and such can be done and how many crimes can be done because there is nothing more to surveil, right? No more lights on the streets. You can no longer phone the police if you need. And, well, technically everything will go loose because, well, everyone can now do literally anything. Outside of, forensic detectives, you can't simply have any registry of what things one may do because, well, there is little proof to be had. Security cameras will no longer be functional. And guess what? The electronics will also not be functional. So I'm really curious how people with their mobile phones will be using the green password, right? The green pass. Because you need a phone for that and your battery will last only a certain while, right? But the devices that you have to tap your mobile phone's app for that, well, those devices are no longer gonna work, right? Because it's a total blackout, right? It's always like this. You're prepared for the scenario. It's predictive programming. The Songbird movie wasn't shown with COVID-23 for nothing. That's how they want your world to look like. A world without you. A world in which the military is enforced to disallow you from exiting your own house, right? So, in such a world, you never know what will happen. You can't phone the police, you can't phone anyone to bring you food because, well, literally everything is down. If technology goes down, well, welcome back to the Stone Age, right? You can put all the food that you buy in the fridge, right? But there's no current. You can simply lie yourself that it's gonna stay well there, right? You can at least lie yourself, but, well, it won't change reality. If the blackout is in the whole town, well, the pumps won't be working, so you won't be having any water either, right? So that's gonna be a bit problematic, right? The question is, what are the people gonna do? I would say, why not simply disconnect from this European society, right? From this dystopian aspect of life. Because if you are connected to a power grid of Europe and they want to shut it down, you can see now the race, for nuclear power to be used instead of green power. Why do you want nuclear power? Like, why suddenly, why out of a sudden green power is removed and you want nuclear power instead? I'm sure it may be much better, but wouldn't it be more pollutant? Wouldn't it be more, well, radiation is something not to toy with, and so much nuclear waste will most likely destroy this beautiful world. But some people actually hate this world because it's too beautiful for their taste. They want a dystopia with technology, where you don't exist, you're simply an avatar in an imaginary world. If people embrace an imaginary world, who's gonna live this life in this world? And, well, if you enter a certain cybernetic world like the metaverse, the question is, don't you think some powers want to, lure you in there so they can lock you out of this life? Because if you don't live life in here, what's the purpose of living it anyways? You can have an avatar of your choice. You can have all the riches that you want in that universe. Who the heck cares? You're still mortal. Live in riches if you still want. It's not a problem. But share some of them, because you'll anyways share them. You'll anyways leave them when you leave the body. Because we all will die sooner or later. So the blackout, no one is actually um, telling you anything about this, right? They're saying, oh, it's gonna happen, it's bound to happen, but how come is it It is bound to happen. How come you can predict it so right? Just like with the pandemic. And Europe in 2017 actually bought a lot of coronavirus vaccines. And then under the guise of lobbying and money transfers, they would say that, hey, we're actually purchasing, right? The governments are actually purchasing the such for people. But are you sure this blackout is not something that is being done? So it's better if you people actually wake up, because soon you're most likely not going to have much left in this world. And if you are so into these applications that control your life, well, if you no longer have technology, they will no longer work. What you gonna do with your green passes? You're gonna print them on paper? Well, there is no current. So how are you gonna print it with the printers that don't work? All this being said, well, hopefully you wake up and realize that if you don't reclaim your country and you simply disconnect from anything that is Europe related, you will simply live in a prison. Because Europe has become a prison, and each country is more like a cell. And in your cell, there where you live, there's bound to be more people that don't have the same values and principles as you. All this being said, you are appreciated. Take care. Ferenc Port signing out.